But I just talked to him about a month ago to see if he had anything new. Jim Barfield. Jim Barfield. Yeah. Do you know Jim?
Yeah. I know of him. I hear he's a good guy. Yeah.
Yeah. He's from Oklahoma. We had him speak at our conference 2 years ago, and he's been working with some Israeli official because he had to get an official to help him do that. And they brought out a machine out there and scanned there in Qumran, and the readings were coming back what you would expect for gold and silver and other things. And he did a map, and he mapped it out, and it looks like kind of a replica of Jerusalem, he said. And he thinks,
I've met with him. I have talked to him about this.
He says he thinks that you might have the breastplate of the high priest with the 12 stones. He says you could have a massive amounts of gold, Solomon's gold. He goes on to talk about all the things that would be there that would just literally be priceless. But the massive amounts of gold alone.
Yeah, he's talking about massive amounts of gold. He's talking about the Copper Scroll treasure.
Yep.
Which is supposedly in that region. There's 64 locations. The Copper Scrolls were found in Cave 3 during 1958. In the back, they couldn't open it. Now the other scrolls were of parchment they're on papyrus, and they were more prayers of prophecy. And they were very well written by people that had a high training intellect. But the Copper Scrolls, when they got those in Cave 3, they couldn't open them up for several years. But they found a guy in Manchester, England, and he sliced them into several pieces, and he just like tube you cut down, and he opened it up, and it's a treasure map. And it's really interesting because the Copper Scrolls are not written by someone of high intellect. It's somebody that used Greek and a lot of slang statements. And the first part was written very eloquently on copper, which is just about as much as gold in those days. And at the end of it was compressed and quick, like he had to get this stuff down. But he told about 64 locations, I think it is, of vast amounts of gold. No one's ever found it. People have been looking for it for a very long time, and it's scattered throughout that area of Judea.
Do you think that in Qumran, if they find all these caves, do you think you could find the tabernacle that was being carried around by the children of Israel? Do you think you'll find the Ark of the Covenant? What do you think is possibly there?
Well, I think I've written 2 books on the Ark going to Ethiopia, but there could be a copy of the Ark somewhere, and I'll tell you why there could be. Because the Antichrist, it says in Scripture and prophecy, when the Antichrist goes into the temple and declares himself God, Scripture says that's going to happen. Has to happen soon. If you look at the, at the time periods that the Bible gives us, you're much more lucid on that point than I am, and knowledgeable, Brandon. But the Antichrist goes into the temple and declares himself God and stops temple sacrifices. And Scripture says something very interesting. It says he not only goes in the temple, but he sits in the temple and declares himself God. There's no furniture in the temple to sit on except for the Ark of the Covenant. Then you have Isaiah 18 that says a great gift will be brought to Zion, which is where the temple is, and will be brought to Christ from Ethiopia. Scripture tells us Jesus will wave his winnowing fan from the temple in the millennial reign. In the temple, he'll separate the wheat from the chaff. The wheat is those that are believers, okay, and they go to heaven, which is the barn. Scripture says that's the analogy for the barn. But the chaff goes and gets burned. Those are non-believers that are going to hell. So Jesus is going to separate believers from the non-believers from the Ark. Now, am I sure it's going to happen from Ethiopia? It makes sense. It's an interesting conjecture, but that's as far as I can go. I think if I had to bet, I'd say Ethiopia has the Ark, and there's a fake Ark that's going to come on the foreground within the next 48 months. Now, record this. The fake Ark that Israel will take will be back in their possession within 48 months. Write that down, record it.
What makes you think the fake Ark will be back in their possession?
That's what I can't tell you.